Okay, so checking our ship's log, the Shrouded Woodlands are their own entry. So that means that each of the dream areas we enter is its own place. It's not just different corners of the same map, as I was thinking. Hello, everyone, and welcome back, once again, to Outer Wilds. And today, we need to do some dream diving over at the Stranger, where it turns out the inhabitants may not have actually died. I think rather they've just sealed themselves away in a simulation, foreign place, something else altogether. I don't know. Now, I was pretty annoyed in the last part because I was like, you would never stumble into that. Especially since I have actually slept at these campfires before, just never with the artifact. Now, if there's a slide reel that explains it, that changes everything, but I was confused because I actually went even almost an hour over my normal record limit trying to find hints and stuff, and I just never found anything. But I just had a discussion on the Discord in which some of you gave me a pretty good hint, and that's to actually use the signal scope to examine the topography of this thing. Now, I spent a good amount of time looking up, but never actually zooming in to explore it in detail. I've been doing most of my exploring via riverboat. I know a lot of people were disappointed by me deciding to Google the solution to this one, and I completely get that, especially if there really is a clue slide reel out there. I hated it as well, to be honest. I mean, I've never done that in this series so far. And the reason I had to do it was because, from a content creator's perspective, I just was out of time. What you didn't see was the hour that I spent going over record limit, even more so than all the mad science I was doing in that episode, trying to figure out, like, what I was supposed to be doing. I was literally, like, combing the bottom of the river looking for anything. It's frustrating because I only have a very limited amount of time to record each day, and I'm trying to get one of these things out every other day, which has been extremely taxing since I actually caught up with recording in episode 12. I started this series with like 5 pre-recorded as a buffer, but we've long since reached that. Now, let's see. Now, to me, this all just looks like a blur that I have to squint at, but we can, I always forget, use the zoom-in feature on the signal scope. So down there is the second location, that's the chapel. We can actually change the zoom level, so that's helpful. There's something right there. I'm not sure if we've seen that before. It doesn't really look familiar, but I might have been there in, like, the first episode. That looks like... That's the broken bridge. We still haven't figured out how to get over there, but if I haven't been here before, maybe we can access it from the back. Now, I've been down this river before. How have I not seen this? Was this just right over my head, or does it get washed away in the flood? I think I've only taken the right path once. That might have been after the flood. Okay, I'm going to have something to say about this. It's actually part of a larger point. Ooh, wow, I have wasted a lot of time. Wait. Wait, can we get through there? I'm actually seeing, like, a sort of... what do you call that? I can't think of the name for a hole in the earth that leads to water. But there's one of those there. I think we'll go there first. But then again, it looks like it's blocked off by a mountain. Is there any way we can maybe get onto that land and jump down? That's something I've been messing around with a lot off camera, but I haven't actually found anything useful that way. But yeah, to continue on this point, that was the first time in the series where I've hit a true dead end. I mean, there's been things that I didn't figure out for a long time, but in the entire game, up until this point, I've never been at a true loss for what to do until now. Ah, it looks like we probably can climb up on there. Alright, let's get the boat over here. Actually, once the dam breaks, this will probably be underwater completely. So I think this whole landscape is about to change totally. I'm about to have a bad time, I think. Yep, I've screwed myself. Okay. I'm so glad that that doesn't kill you outright that it gives you, like, a moment of panic where you have to, like, figure out where you've ended up and what you're going to do about it. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was distracted by being washed away in a biblical flood. What they had said is that one of the few flaws of this game, and it may not even be avoidable from a game design perspective, is that if you're missing any piece of the puzzle, there are certain areas where that can lead you to being stuck for a really long time. And as somebody who has to get out a certain amount of content in each sitting, that can be devastating. Like, I really can't afford to have dead ends. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, why haven't I really had dead ends up until this point? And I think the reason for it is because the rest of the game functions as a kind of web. It does a lot to organize things for you, and the way it's laid out, anytime you're doing something, it's so dense with discoveries that even if you don't figure out the solution, ooh, there is an underwater cave thing with a house in it. But there is such a density of discoveries that even if you're not figuring out the answer to your current question, you're probably answering other questions that you had, or even answers to questions you hadn't even asked yet. What is this device? But with this area, that's not really the case. It's self-contained. So it's kind of intrinsically more susceptible to that problem. In this case, if the previous episode hadn't happened and we hadn't had the conversation about using the signal scope, I would not have figured this out. Ooh, there's another slide reel right here, so we'll have to take this some... Oh, are you doing a Resident Evil on me? Are you doing one of these weighted puzzle things? No, this door has actually just closed on me. Well, that's ominous, and to some extent, outright malicious. Oh wait, but... there is more out there. And we can probably swim through... yeah, we can swim through this gap, okay. I figured it would be something like that. Thankfully we had plenty of oxygen, or I probably would have panicked and drowned. You know, with a death trap like this, although it may not have been a death trap in its day, and with our encounter with them in the dream world, I do have to wonder as to the nature of these creatures. Are they actually hostile? Alright, there's more to explore here. Whole bunch of artifacts, but I'm wondering if I shouldn't maybe take this to a location with a lantern, or just keep going and hope there's one ahead. Sorry, my voice feels so raspy. I don't know if it sounds that way, but I feel so dehydrated, even after chugging like a whole bottle of water. Oh, this is the back door to this! Okay, so we can actually just look at this upstairs. We'll have to jetpack across the way and get ourselves a lantern. Let's put you in here. And move across. Never mind. Oh man, I hadn't realized we were so late in this loop already. Okay, so this isn't submerged at all prior to the flood. Can we grab these artifacts? Actually... see, now that I stop and look at this, this is actually using the same ash pile that we see around some of the smashed consoles. I mean, sorry, not artifacts, slide reels. So it's like they tried to destroy all their records, as well as anything that could enable them to do some specific task. Now, what is this thing? I can't tell if it's clipping through the floor or what. But I really want to understand what these devices are, especially after we finally got to learn what that device Solemn had did. Oh, I see. You probably flip around in the dark. Alright, so we'll take you. That closes. Oh, this place is so cool. Now, honestly, like, looking at it from that perspective, I mean, I really can't thank you guys enough, because you saved so much time looking around and telling me to look around with the signal scope. I would never have found this area right here. And even though it's definitely a lot less stupid than just expecting you to try falling asleep with the artifact, I really think that even if I were just playing this as a normal, like, person, not having a timetable to keep to, I would have had a lot more frustration, maybe a couple more hours before I figured this out. I probably would have ended up Googling it anyway. I'll take the other one of yours just so that you're open if we need you later. Now remember, we have 3 different locations where we have to enter this dream world and figure out what the purpose is. And I think in this part, I'm going to take them kind of one by one. So this does go all the way through the cliff. There's the 2 areas with all the dead owl creatures, and then there's the one in front of the sarcophagus. I haven't actually tried that one yet, but I'm really interested to see what that one will be like. I have a feeling it'll be different from the other 3. The other 3, of course, being there's probably one inside the cliff face one after the bridge. Okay, so it's another one of these. Oh, this is one of those devices that we saw in the dream world. Because it sort of looks like a telescope, but maybe it can, like, project light? Hang on, what's the difference between these 2 slides? Is there some subtle difference? It looks like they're holding a tablet with the marking on it. And maybe an artifact in the other hand? Wait. Oh, wait, yeah, that's the burned house. That's the one that we saw in the previous part. And now they hand this off to another who leaves with it. Oh, look at that! There's a hidden one of those teleports. The hand thing that grabs you and pulls you in. And that leads to a hidden cave. And just as these things can turn on lights, they can also shut them off. So that will actually enable us to access the tower. And from there, there's a circular stairwell that leads into some kind of cave. Okay, so that was very informative, but it did not tell us how to get there, meaning this is not what I was meant to see. Well, I'll tell you this at the very least. It stopped me from getting stuck at a later point. Now, where do we find a boat? There isn't one anchored here right now, so we kind of have to wait for one to pass. Oh wait, there is one anchored here. Okay, so what I think I saw was that if we take the right path... Or no, it's that right path, it's not this one. And wait, there is actually another way right there, but I don't think we'll be able to get in. So I'm seeing now, actually... See, I've been thinking on a 2-river paradigm, but looking over here behind the church, what I'm seeing is that there's actually 3. It splits in 3 right here. 2 of them lead to the same place, and only 1 leads here. I think I've only been down this way once, but that was like at the very beginning of the series. See, that's one of those things where it's like, if you miss something, and you have no reason to believe that there's, like, a reason to go back, you'll just never see it. Now, do we have to go all the way around, or can we fight this current and get over there? Now, if this is the place I was seeing from the signal scope, then there should be an anchor we can grab, or a dock. Let's try pushing on 2 at once, that's more force. That'll pick us up. Yeah, let's go down here. I was down here once at the very beginning of the series. Ow! Oh, no, 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 no. I just got knocked right off. Come on, come on, land, land! Point break. Extreme sports. And, oh, we can go down that way. It splits off even more. I'd only seen that right path. Okay. So it's actually a lot more of a web than I thought. Here we go. And we reached the new section of Popeye's Log Flume. Should be a lot more to explore here. In fact, if I'm right about the geography of this, through here should actually be the back end of the area where the bridge is out. We're currently actually at pretty much right before the dam. Okay. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is it's so dependent on me seeing that, like, narrow sliver. Which is fine when you use the signal scope, but I've been looking up at a blur, you know? Okay, so we have this thing. What does this do? Oh, it's an elevator. Wait, that's actually really important. Because in the dream world, we've seen a bunch of these things. We've seen a bunch of those metal platforms. I wonder if there's a way to call elevators there. And we can send you back up using that, and you go up to there, alright? So we can do that, but let's take this level by level. It's probably going to take me more than one loop to explore all this. Another elevator right here, so that is the only way up and down. And there's a hole in the floor right here, which makes me wonder how this place is going to change when the flood actually comes through. You have to remember, there's 2 states to every area. When I first spotted this from the signal scope, I was kind of thinking that maybe this got washed away, and that's why I didn't see it the first time, but it's just down like a couple of obscure paths. The number one thing that I'm hoping for right now is for a way to translate this. Their text is actually a lot more sparse than the Nomai, and I think the reason for that is because it would be pretty annoying to be seeing it everywhere, and then find a tool for it and have to go back and translate tons of things. But I really am... See, the biggest value to me in translating their text is just to understand the voice that they speak in. Because the Nomai had a very particular tone. They had this tone of curiosity and wonder, and basically care for each other and the other species in the solar system. These guys, from what I've seen so far, it's a lot more creepy, more hostile, more like... I guess fundamentalist vibe to it. But we don't actually know that for sure. A whole lot of stuff here. And that, I presume, leads into the third and final cave, where I believe we're very likely to find another crypt. Yep. Oh, this door is locked as well. But the building is not completely sealed. I really like that there's a lot of areas for your jetpack to shine in a medium gravity environment in this part. Oh no. We don't know how this is going to change. Land is the only sure thing. It might just pass completely under it. Let's see how that goes. Wow, we're actually much earlier than this loop than I would have thought. So you sweep over that and kind of make it so that it's accessible by boat. But it just looks like a dead end. And then you come over here. Now that's kind of neat. So if you think to jump off of a boat and climb over the land bridge, then it's a lot easier to see. That's interesting. So it's like a trade-off. Here the supports break and the middle section collapses out from under it, but it leaves a little bit of a bridge, and it looks like maybe something we can swim through right there, like a hole in the roof. I'm not going to take this cave until very last. So there is no interior way to access this, but we can launch the scout down there, and there is a slide reel on that table. What say you, Scout? Some doors, another portrait on the wall, but I don't quite see how to get in there. Maybe I can do something from below? That's been the case a few times in this series, but I can't get there, even after the flood. There's the table. Maybe behind here, since we know from the other thing that it will hide stuff behind stuff. We can launch down here as well. So how do we get light onto that? Will the scout actually be enough light for that to work? Oh, it is. It is rotating. So, okay, that's cool. That's a cool way to introduce that mechanic, actually. All right, so down there... Oh, we don't even need you to do it anymore. I was going to run around and try to catch it. Yep. And here we are. See, now that is a good way to introduce a mechanic. And to be fair, like, that was the one time I've been stuck. So it's not like this game is overall bad at it and this is surprising. Usually it's really, really good about it. Now this looks like more of a private chamber, which actually sheds light on the idea that, okay, if this is the building that's meant to reveal this, this actually makes sense to put this here. Because here we see that this is more of a private bed, not some kind of device that they strap themselves into. This is just how they sleep. Because this is more of a dwelling. Now we just need to find somewhere where we can look at this. Oh, over there. There's lanterns over there, because it's another one of those churches, or chapels. I've been getting church and chapel mixed up, because there's the church, and then there's these things. Which I'm still not sure if they have some kind of religious significance. It seems like they abandoned whatever adoration or admiration they had for the eye. And there's another artifact right here. So we can place this in here and go across the way to get another one of those things. That's so spooky to me. That structure right there, having the light inside the glass window. It just creates such an eerie glow and adds such a sense of depth to it. I don't know, it makes it feel so much spookier. Alright, now one of you guys is going to lead to a hidden passage. It's not always the same one. So let's just start moving these to the entryway. It has to be far enough away to completely leave it in darkness. I know that from the other ones. Not you. So it's got to be you then, right? There we go. Which, I don't think this is going to be useful to us right now. I think this is going to be probably another dream area to explore, but not anything that's immediately relevant. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything super necessary right here that's different, although I will continue my tradition of roasting marshmallows at every single place. Now, we knew from a previous slide reel that there was one more of these areas, and a question that I've had in my head ever since then is whether or not there would be more missing bodies, and there aren't. So what does that tell us? That there was only a single one who didn't join them. And I'm starting to suspect that the single one is the one in that sarcophagus underwater. Now, what did they do that would cause them to be locked away? I don't know. Maybe they continued to do something related to the eye. Maybe they were sealed away as a heretic. But it's not a death sentence. Because remember, that chamber did also have a fire. So maybe within that sarcophagus, they're also on one of these beds. I don't know. It seems like some kind of accommodation was made. Oh no. Really? Oh, I'm just running out of time left and right today. Hang on, wait. Is that a cave down there? Is that a cave down there? I might go do some diving after the flood. But the first thing I'm going to want to do is grab that lantern and rush this slide reel. Yeah, this really has to be done prior to the flood, so you can just kind of walk across. And that saves you quite a bit of time. And is this going to be the building? Actually, I think every building with a projector has had this marking on it. Because I remember that from the first one. And I place you here. And we've got to go grab that slide reel. Now what is this? Because this actually doesn't look like something I've seen before. What is that? Hang on. Am I crazy for seeing a shape coming out of that? I mean, maybe it's just a plume of smoke. Green light coming out of that circle. And it identifies this, possibly as something negative if those other displays are to be believed. Text describing it, which we unfortunately cannot read. If I were to come over here... No, I can't translate it off the wall. Not that I'd be able to anyway. Oh, that's the area where we enter, I see. There's one of the hangars. So we need to go see that one in particular. I wonder if we need to... Okay, so if we head down from the hangar and up and to the left, that's how we get to that one. So we still haven't found the one that would have told us what to do. But maybe it's down here. Okay, there's two more. Two more. So 3 slide reels that we look at in this place. This looks to be the third one explaining how to open the sarcophagus. Yep. And you're going to light your beacon, causing a third chain to wrap around. But I still don't understand, like, how we use this information. Unless maybe there's one of these in each of these dream worlds, and that will show us how to open it. Like, we have to light one of these things in each in particular that will do this. Okay. Well, we have to do all that anyway. I haven't yet figured out the exact purpose, but we do know to head back to the burned house and play around a little more with that device. Now let's grab you. And put you over here. Here we go. This is going to be the one that explains it. Now I'm curious to see how they indicate this visually. Okay, so the ring world isn't their home world, but one in orbit of it. They have insects on their planet. Hang on. They must have lost their planet as well. And it seems like the Nomai, they do sort of care for each other. It looks like they're trying to comfort each other. One of them is missing an antler. I feel so horrible for the races in this game. The Nomai, the Herthians. The Herthians actually least of all, because they, at least for the most part, don't know it's coming. But the Nomai and these owl creatures, it seems like they did. Actually, this thing survives the supernova, right? What if it also survived a supernova where they came from? We know it travels. Actually, maybe it doesn't survive a supernova. Maybe it just leaves. Maybe it did so automatically here. I mean, after a while, you can't see anything out the viewport. More burned areas. Why would they... See, this is the question on my mind now after seeing that, because that casts it in a different light. Why would they try and destroy the entire record of their history except for a few remnants? And my prevailing theory right now is that they just wanted to forget about it, that there was anything before. So here they are getting into here. I'm not sure I would have figured that out even if I had seen this, honestly. Like, granted, it's about the best way possible you can convey it. I don't know if I would have figured that out. But let's explore the rest of this area. Actually, the dam hasn't broken yet. It probably will soon. Let's do a little bit of cave diving. I think in the main game, because this is something I've been thinking about, the place where I would have eventually gotten stuck is the Ash Twin project, if you guys hadn't told me about the warp pads. Oh, this just goes through here. Oh, but there is a boat inside that can be dropped down. Wow, actually, wait, I might have screwed myself. There might not actually be a way to get up here without a boat, if one is already anchored. I might have to wait for the flood to be able to get back up. You won't have that element early on, but... Okay! Well, this was the wrong place to be for that. If you're so close, a boat won't save you! Well, that was a pickle. Pickle which I am conveniently already out of. Badoop. Alright, so what's the next thing we have to look at? I'm thinking we go up here, which is actually going to be kind of a tall order now that this is all broken down. Oh, we haven't been here before. Yeah, here's where we can drop that boat if we need it. This door is closed from behind, and I'm not sure of my exact orientation right now. But over here, a lantern and what looks to be 2 artifacts. Okay, well, obviously one of our big mysteries now is going to be figuring out how we get in here. What if we get up on the roof? Is there anything? No. And that'll be deeper inside the cliff anyway. Alright, I'm thinking then our next move is going to be to explore that cave over there. And we can kind of make it. That's a slide reel on fire. Ghost matter? Yeah. Alright, we can navigate through here, we just gotta be careful. Kind of interesting how ghost matter actually ended up here as well. I wonder if the thing that destroyed... See, I'm confused timeline-wise. I wonder if the thing that destroyed the Nomai... It must have happened after they already went to sleep, right? Because it didn't wipe these guys out in a similar fashion, even though it is spread across the stranger. And here we end up over here, and can enter this cabin. So that's how we get over here. Oops. Oh, it's not just a cabin. It's another shrine to the eye. There's something behind the wall. A chain? Some kind of hoist? And another of these guys. Alright, so we'll have to figure out the combination. A lantern, so we'll probably have to leave you somewhere. Actually, have we tried just navigating by lantern light in pitch darkness? No. Wouldn't recommend it. And that leads us back to here. Okay. Okie dokie. So we don't need it. This is just for if we happen to discover this first before the other stuff. Alright, let's grab that other slide reel then. Is there another slide reel here, maybe? Or is it just an option for how to get through? Nothing behind this barrier. Yet whatever this chain is, it has to have something to do with whatever's there. Like, there has to be some kind of password somewhere, right? Yet whatever this chain behind the wall is, it has to have something to do with a hidden password somewhere. But where would we even look? I feel like these loops are getting, like, so short. I feel like they're running out in like 5 minutes. Maybe it's just because discoveries have resumed in quite a large quantity. But man. Alright, should be a lot of new things in our log. Hull breach. Hang on, what was hull breach? I found a slide reel in the hidden gorge that shows an explosion, so that wasn't supposed... I kind of thought that was supposed to happen because it looked just like the aftermath of a lot of their tech. Alright, we'll check that out next. The area with the bridges suspended above the canyon is called the hidden gorge. More burned slide reel stuff. Abandoned temple. And it's marked with the symbol of a burning slide reel, that's right, so... But why? Alright, so in the 2 out of potentially 4 of these places now that we've seen, we have our goal. In one of them, our goal is to reach the center of the island and then descend, and in the other, we have to reach that creepy building where one of those creatures was walking around, and that extremely eerie music was coming out. Now, the secret well... Yeah, I think that's the one in the Starlit Cove. Now, we did learn a lot about the dream world and what we have to do within it, but I kind of want to save all that for the next part. So what did we have to do? We had to move down from here and up and to the left. These headlights are not doing much for me right now. Doesn't help that there's a revolving shadow. Yeah, there it is. There's that breach. Okay. Ooh, and there's gravity. I'm being pulled down. Wait, can we land on this spoke? Kind of seems like, yeah. It'll actually set itself down just right there. Another one of these places. It looks like there was at one time a fire in the middle. Hey, I said stay open. But there aren't beds. There's one of those bells. Then again, if there was a breach, maybe they were all sucked out. Yeah, maybe we should close this. I wonder if after a certain amount of time, this wouldn't run out of oxygen. Okay, so we've got to start looking at these. We can actually peer directly into them. A flame focusing its beam on a dead campfire. This is the room we just came from. And there's another one here, only this one is focused on a chair, and there's an extinguished lantern right next to it. Alright, I'm intrigued. Let's grab this artifact, because whatever we do, it's probably going to have something to do with it, right? There's another artifact in... Okay, here is where I would have figured it out. Man, if it weren't for that one, like, side alley, I would have eventually figured it out. It just would have been a few more hours of me aimlessly wandering around. God, okay. Well, I'm glad we got closure on that at least. Basically, I rescind my criticism from being too obscure and just kind of place it into the category of... It would have taken me way too long to find this area. So let's go check out the one in the other room. Now, why are you pointing at the chair? Oh, it's the same thing, basically. But wait, so that raises another question, actually. What were they doing in here? Maybe this is just where they developed the technology? Perhaps this was a safety measure to wake them up, not something that's actually malicious. I mean, it's acting against me as I go, but wait, artifact? Can I potentially light this thing? I actually haven't been paying attention. Does it call the lit lanterns an artifact as well? Well, look, if we go back here, here's another slide reel, so let's go see what this has to say. By the way, all the stuff that's happened in this episode, do you see how much more gets done in a sitting when stuff is actually being found out moment to moment? Alright, we need to bring Hughes up to there, and I would prefer to do it before the dam breaks, which, by the way, how's your progress? You're actually still doing okay. It's weird, I'm starting to feel like there's a lot of time before the dam breaks, and no time after it breaks, which, you know, I'm sure it's all down to perception, but it's just funny how that works. Yeah, no, it calls it a lantern. So it's definitely significant that the empty one is called an artifact. I wonder if we can't maybe light it at one of the green fires. All right, in you go. Ah, I bet this will explain how to light it. So I guess this is actually an evolved lantern, which makes sense given its ability to focus its beam. I get it. The lantern is almost like a prototype, I guess, which makes sense that this is where they developed it. So if this is like an early form artifact, which it is even straight up calling it, then maybe it's like incomplete or had something wrong with it? Because they evolved on the process, so maybe something else will happen, some alternate scenario, if we try to use it ourselves. Howdy boys, slumber party. No, this one doesn't appear to actually work. Unless we need to use it for longer, but we didn't for the other ones. Unless maybe we'll figure out something later on. I kind of trapped that door in like a weird limbo state. I think the Nomai would have wanted that for the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. My last thing for this episode is I want to figure out what the deal is with this place. There's got to be a password hidden somewhere. I'm actually kind of assuming that it's the same. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to look at. I've looked at the carpet. Here comes the flood. Maybe there's a clue outside. We can actually use this to get up onto this larger area. I don't know if that helps us, but we'll make a note of it. Can we... I doubt we're going to be able to launch a scout through there. No. So now having seen the full manner in which the artifact thing is explained, unless there's some other functionality that I don't know about, how do I feel about the decision to Google it in retrospect? Well, having found where that stuff actually is, I can safely say that I would not have seen that had people in the Discord not told me to use the signal scope, it would have been a lot of extra time on my own looking for that. And when time is literally money, that wouldn't have been worth it. So I don't regret Googling. However, what I do regret, and honestly, this is something that I should have done because it's something that I've done for other games, is I shouldn't have searched for how to do the thing. I should have searched for how to figure out how to do the thing. Because look, I'm a person who watches movies and plays video games and goes on the internet. It is not a safe place for spoilers for most things. I caught up to the MCU in 2019. So I've kind of become sort of an expert at knowing when to terminate a paragraph mid-sentence and come away with just the right information I need. So what I should have done was Googled where you find this information, and reading a couple of lines would have told me there's other areas on the surface, and I would have looked for it then and found it. So basically, the mechanic isn't poorly explained, the explanation is hard to find. Although I will say this, in that explanation, there's one thing that I really, really want to praise, and that's that it takes advantage of a very specific new mechanic in order to convey another very specific new mechanic. And that's that so much of their media, either slide reel or those mind weirdness things that we found, allow you to see from a first-person perspective, literally see what they saw. I told you that the time I found the slide reel, I probably still wouldn't have gotten that you have to fall asleep, but I would have gotten it from the vision that actually shows the eyes closing. Because it's a cool twist on something that's literally been there since the beginning. And that's being able to count the number of eyelids when we go to sleep or when we wake up. Actually, that's kind of a weird recurring theme in this game, isn't it? We have 4 eyes, the Nomai 3, and these owls too. If they release another DLC, we'll encounter a race of Cyclops, but I don't think we're going to be doing that now. The big thing here is going to be figuring out the password to this and figuring out what this chain actually lifts up. And I'm thinking that maybe, even though I find it unlikely because it hasn't been the case with anything else yet, maybe we start looking in the dream world again for solutions to some of our issues out here. Because I haven't found anything like that yet, but I also haven't really done anything of particular note in those worlds besides look around. But now that we do have some sense of direction there, maybe that's something we can achieve. I figure it's worth a shot at least. And for me, that's going to be right now. But for you, until next time, if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.